Inflation continues to rise at a very fast rate, and many lawmakers in Congress, including Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, are being urged by advocacy groups and economists to pass a fourth stimulus package as soon as possible. So relief aid is likely to be sent out to eligible Americans soon. But remember, friends, that every single day, my goal is to provide you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check information. I just want to do my very best in providing you with this news. So a key measure of inflation rose 5.8% between December 2020 and December 2021. According to a new report by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, it was the biggest advance since 1982, and energy prices alone rose nearly 30% over the course of 2021, while food prices climbed 5.7%. The Core Consumer Price Index, which is what the Federal Reserve uses to measure inflation, also rose 4.9% in the 12 months to December. That was the fastest price hike by that measure since 1983. Energy prices alone rose nearly 30% over the course of 2021. For the month of December alone, prices rose by 0.4%. It's really ridiculous to see how inflation is negatively affecting millions of people across the nation. In fact, people spent less in December, and consumer spending actually declined for the first time in months, slipping 0.6%. Retailers had warned customers of supply chain disruptions and shortages. And also, the White House and Congress will likely have to put together a new plan to send out more payments to offset the loss of income for individuals and loss of revenue for businesses. If a bill could be crafted and pass Congress, it will come on top of more than $4.5 trillion the legislators have authorized since the crisis began in March 2020. Millions of Americans have continued to call for additional stimulus check as rapid inflation takes its toll on the economy. Over 3 million people have signed an online change.org petition calling on Congress to send more stimulus checks. The petition urges Congress to approve monthly direct payments of $2,000 per month as the crisis continues to take a toll on the economy. Several other petitions on change.org have made similar calls to lawmakers and Joe Biden. Each petition has gotten tens or even hundreds of thousands of signatures calling for additional monthly payments or release of fourth check. The White House has already shown support for automatic stabilizers for unemployment insurance. Kamala Harris has also said that she supported recurring payments for Americans. What do you think about Kamala Harris and the Democrats? Are they doing all that it takes to get this job done, everybody? Tell me what you think in the comments. The great news is that there are over 21 Senate Democrats that are in support of sending payments to eligible Americans on a monthly basis. These lawmakers have officially sent President Biden a letter expressing their support for recurring payments. Among the people that signed the bill included Senator Ron Wyden, who could help the federal government work around the biggest budget and get more relief passed for the American people. The IRS has issued more than 169 million payments in the third round of payments. And I just want to say thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions about the fourth stimulus payments, leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my very best in answering them.
Mr. Levine, I recently introduced the Bipartisan Robocall Traceback Enhancement Act with Senator Markey to help bolster privately led efforts to trace back the origins of illegal robocalls. Can you speak to the FTC's efforts on engaging with industry initiatives like the Robocall Traceback Group, and whether this public-private partnership has been successful in identifying illegal robocaller actions?
Absolutely, Senator. And first of all, thank you for your leadership on this issue and on the TraceStat as well. It has been a successful partnership, but let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot more work to be done. The FTC has brought 150 lawsuits. We're moving upstream, targeting VoIP providers. We're blasting billions of calls into Americans' homes and pockets, but a lot more needs to be done if we're going to take on this scourge.
Well, and I hope that you can continue to advise us, too, on things that we can do to give you more tools, but we do want to make sure that these partnerships that we've called for are hopefully functioning and working in an effective way. And I would follow up with Mr. Leatherman virtually, if you could elaborate on the coordination between industry and enforcement officials to make the traceback efforts effective, and then perhaps also address the question of whether there are other tools Congress should consider providing attorneys general to meet the challenge of tracking illegal robocallers. Mr. Leatherman?
I don't know whether we have Mr. Leatherman still.
Okay.
Oh, there he is. Mr.
Sorry
Leatherman,
about that.
did you hear the question?
I did not hear the question. My internet just blinked out. So would you repeat it, please?
I don't know if you heard my first question from Mr. Levine, but I wanted to ask if you could elaborate on the coordination between industry and enforcement officials to make the trace back efforts effective. This comes back to the issue of robocalls. And as a follow-up, are there other tools Congress should consider providing state attorneys general to meet the challenge of tackling illegal robocallers?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. And thank you for your leadership on the issue involving robocalls. As you're aware, I think there's been a number of cases brought recently by state attorneys general using tools that have been made available through the Traceback Act, and those efforts are ongoing. There have been a number of cases brought recently targeting illegal activity conducted on networks, and so the networks themselves had been subject to law enforcement action. So in the past, it was difficult to obviously sue all of the scammers, and so the AGs have been very effective in targeting networks that are knowing
Mr. Leatherman, I think we've lost you again.
or
I think we've lost you.
Mr. Chairman, let me come back to Mr. Levine here. And this is a separate issue, but not has to do with a concern I've had for a long time about the big four meat packers' dominance and control over beef processing capacity and cattle supply in this country. Packers are enjoying excessive profits while cattle producers and family farm and ranch operations like those in my home state of South Dakota struggle to stay in business. At the same time, consumers are left paying record high prices for beef, and most of the time, they aren't even sure where it's coming from because of the product of the USA labeling loophole, which is entirely another issue. But I remain very concerned with potential improper or anti-competitive activity in the beef sector, and I'm encouraged that this administration has prioritized oversight of this highly concentrated industry, and I'm wondering what your views are with respect to the FTC using its Section 6B authority to investigate these meatpacking companies.
Well, Senator, I certainly share your interest in this issue.